Hey friends, as part of the Steam RTS Fest, last week I got the opportunity to sit down with Pavel Zagrebelnyi, who is the lead programmer, one of the lead devs, the guy behind it all for the Scouring, which is a very promising Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3 inspired game that's currently up in demo mode on Steam. I highly recommend you check it out. We talked for 20 minutes about a bunch of different stuff, past, present, future plans, where things are going, his ideas about the game. It's a pretty awesome conversation. The game is a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoy. Pavel, I'm so excited about this interview. I have heard so much from a lot of RTS friends about the scoring, how it's just it is tickling their RTS fancy in a way that they haven't been tickled in quite a while. So before we talk about the scoring, though, this is a one-man band. This is your RTS passion project. Tell me about yourself. Tell me how you got into this whole idea, this whole process.
Oh, well, first of all, yeah, I started as a student in university,
Mhm.
and I was studying computer arts, and then at some point I've came across an job advertisement, and it was a job opportunity at a company called Saber Interactive, which you might have heard
Mhm.
of. They've recently released a big game called Space Marine, but back then they were a really little company, just about 50 to 60 persons, and it was like 15 years ago. So I've joined Saber Interactive, and back then they were developing a third-person shooter and first-person shooters as well. So not really something related to RTS stuff. So when I started developing the scoring, I had to come up with most of the stuff myself. Of course, I had the background in computer arts and graphics programming, so that helped a lot. Yeah, but at some point, while I was working at Saber Interactive, I've decided that I want to, do something myself, and I've quit and started developing the game myself. So, and my first game was called Spin Tires, which you again might have heard of. It was a big hit. I mean, it was popular. And then there was a successor to Spin Tires called Mud Runner, and then even a bigger successor called Snow Runner. And at some point, I've been working on this vehicle simulation stuff for so long that I've thought of myself, let's try something different. Yeah, I want to, have a new challenge, make a new challenge for myself. So why not try to make an RTS game? And there you go. We have the scoring now.
Gotcha. So third-person shooters, you have this university background, you move, you quit, you say, I want to make my own thing. I'm going to go make spin tires. It's vehicles. That's fine. But for your next game, you could have chosen anything. You could have chosen to make a first-person shooter or something else that some sort of 4X tactical thing. Why RTS? Why was that the choice? Why was that your next project?
You see, the RTS as a genre
Mm-hmm.
is very technical. So I myself, as a programmer, have a good opportunity to do something technical, like a technical demo. And if I do that right, it will be kind of, it will have the value in itself. And if you look at the first person shooter, for instance, yes, there are first-person shooters that are very technical, but in general, they require a lot of more content in itself.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, it was just a matter of what kind of game genre can I use my skill the best, and turned out RTS is really fitting one. Plus, I really had a huge inspiration from the classics of the genre. So I really wanted to try, myself in this as well. Yeah.
So you talk about this inspiration from the classics of the genre. Was that something where you said, I want to make an RTS game because this is a very technical, interesting opportunity for me? And then I'm going to go and do the research. I'm going to say, yeah, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, Age of Empires, StarCraft. I'm going to go do that research and draw all this inspiration. Or did you have some background in that type of game even before you started trying to make your own?
No, I really had no background, so I really had to come up with most of the solutions myself. I mean, there are the publicly available open source RTS games that you can look at, but they are not really type of thing that I really wanted to make. So I really wanted to make a very kind of dynamic game that will, push the skills of your micromanagement to the limit, the same way StarCraft does. And it was like a good challenge for me. Surprisingly enough, it worked because, well, turns out you really need to really have, I guess, two or maybe three things to make a good RTS game. So you need to understand what kind of experience the player wants in the game. Then you need to have the skills to actually bring it to life. I mean, the coding skills. And then you need to have some good enough artistic vision to make the game look appealing, so the player that sees this for the first time is not like repelled, so he's trying it out, and then he sees that, oh, it actually plays well, so why not, give it some time. And yeah, that was my original idea, and it turns out, given the right now, given the way the scoring is received by the public, it actually kind of worked, I guess.
Make a good game, make it fun, and people will
Yeah,
come to it.
just do this, just do the thing right, and it will work.
Yeah, what, like it's hard or
As simple
something?
as that.
Exactly.
For me, and yeah, for me, it wasn't hard. It was a fun experience, really. I enjoyed making the RTS game. I always wanted, especially after spending like, I don't know, 10 years doing the vehicle simulation. I really wanted to try something different, so I enjoyed it.
So you talked about making this RTS game that you've always wanted. What is that? What makes that RTS game that you've always wanted? I mean, I know there are inspirations from kind of Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3. There are some clear Age of Empires ideas in there as well. But what are, I guess, the key ideas that make up the RTS game that you've always wanted?
I'm not talking about the RTS game in general, but not the RTS genre in general, but the game in general that I want to play is a kind of a game that really focuses on the little small things, and it's not what most of the games do. For instance, we have a really simple mechanic in the game. Our units in the game, they can drink potions, okay, like a healing potion. And when they throw them away, they actually bounce in the water, and they don't go underground in the water. They float. This is a kind of little, small, subtle detail that you don't really see in most of the games, but that's a kind of thing that I really want to see myself. For me, yeah, for me, the attention to detail is one of the most important things in the games, and in all kinds of games, all kinds of genres of games.
Gotcha. Actually, going back to that, I didn't know you could throw the healing potions. I've been using them. I've been buying them. I didn't know you could
No,
throw them.
you don't throw it manually. They just, units just throw them when they are finished drinking
Oh,
it,
okay.
and they floats in the water. No, it's just one of the little details. The corpses, when the units die, they float in the water as well. It's just one of the things that you don't really, strictly speaking, need to get the game published,
Hmm.
get the game out. But it's one of the things that you do when you actually care about the game. And for me, yeah, it's really important. And it's actually important to keep myself motivated in continuing making the game. Because when I do like a small little subtle feature like that, then I can see this in my game, and it just makes me happy, and I can do that forever.
Exactly. You know what? No one else even has to see it, but the fact that you know it's there and you see it when it happens is a kind of a win in and of itself. It sounds like. But looking back at the broader scope of the scoring for a second here, you did mention, hey, I took all this inspiration. When you look at these games, obviously Warcraft, Age of Empires is kind of where it looks like it came from. What did you look at and say, hey, I want to do this better? Are there mechanics, are there ideas in these games that you're directly trying to improve upon?
Well, honestly, I think StarCraft 2 specifically
Hmm.
is next to perfect. There's very little things that you can improve upon, I think. But still, there are a couple of things that you can improve upon. One of the things is the modding capabilities. See, our game is very small. The distributable of our game is just 500 megabytes. Okay, it's very, very, very little game. What it means is that it's really easy to tweak the mode. And StarCraft 2 is a big, 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 huge game. And yes, it has a lot of ways that you can mod. You can get, you can make a first-person shooter in StarCraft 2, right? But still, it's very hard, and especially when you're doing it for the first time. So our game is supposed to be very easy to build your own stuff upon of. And so the way I see it is our game is not like it's not really about the stuff that we have right now in the game. It's about the mechanics, the foundations that we will give the players to experiment with, and that's one of the things that will I hope will be one of the selling features of our game, especially the ability to do custom AI scripts. Okay, so you will have the ability to tweak the way your AI assistant. We have AI assistant in the game, which helps you, play the game. You will have the ability to tweak it, to upload your modifications to Steam Workshop. Then you will have ability to try, various AI assistants. They will help you out, and so that's kind of stuff. So the modding part, I think, is one of the key features of our project. Yeah.
So is that full custom mod support, or saying, hey, we're small, our source code is relatively easy to understand, if you decompile it, go from there?
It's full mod support.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not like we are giving out our source code
Yeah.
because it would be too hard for people to
Hmm.
actually do mods with. I mean, we're not expecting like people to program, C++ stuff. It's too complicated.
Okay.
But the subtle changes, yeah, that's kind of things that I hope there will be. I hope people will be interested in doing that stuff.
Makes sense. And so I want to talk about, because I'm a Blizzard guy, right? I love StarCraft. Warcraft was a little bit too early for me. I've seen some of it, but one of the key things there, because it does seem you're taking some inspiration here, is this idea of factions playing pretty differently. Right now, you got orcs, you got humans. They play somewhat differently, but do you have any plans to further differentiate between how these two factions play, or add a third faction, or anything like that?
Oh, that's a great question. It's very simple.
Hmm.
We are a very small team, and we don't have a designated um, balance
Hmm.
balance game designer. So we used the ingenious idea of Warcraft 2. Hey, let's just make the two
Hmm.
races exactly the same, with a little difference in some high-tech skills. Okay, that you can balance. It's not so hard to do, but it doesn't mean that our uh, technology limits the players in that way. No, not at all.
Hmm.
I hope that we will have opportunity to establish to add new races that would function in a different way. It's only a matter of the game balance, like you said, and uh, if we have a big enough audience that will have the time and passion to experiment with our ecosystem and with our technical stuff, they will be able to make asymmetrical races and balance them by themselves. And it's a great way to make games. I'm saying this because I had a great experience with modding community in my last game. Like I said, last game, Spin Tires and Mandarin. And this is a case where you just give away the modding tools to the community, and the community does the game for you. It's awesome. But you really need to have a good foundation, and it's very important. The graphics need to look good, the game mechanics need to work good, the game needs to be stable, no crashes, no unexpected stuff, and that's our plan.
Gotcha. And that ties back into what you're talking about with having hopefully very good mods. Well, not hopefully, having very good mod support so players can go. If there's something they want added in, they can add that in very well. It just still requires some work, but as easily as possible. So again, talking about these ideas, and it sounds like a lot of this would be post-release, assuming that people like it, assuming it catches some traction. You got any campaign plans?
Of course, and honestly, when I first thought of making an RTS game by myself, and it was like more than 3 years ago. It's a project that's like more than 3 years in the making. I first played Warcraft 2 campaign, and just felt like playing it, and I was amazed how good it is even now. And I thought, hey, I need to give a tribute to that great game. Uh, that's how it started. But unfortunately, the good campaign in our time is supposed to be much more complicated than what Warcraft 2 campaign is. So it really goes out of the scope of our little indie project made by 5, 6 guys. So we are definitely planning campaign mode, but probably will not be available at the start at launch of the game, simply because it's if you want to do it right, you need to uh, you know uh, do it right, and it takes time and effort, and it just goes a little bit beyond the scope of our little project right now.
Gotcha. So looking back at the overall scope, we talked about the things that you can do, things you can't do. I know you talked a little bit about the floating bottles and things like that, but is there one thing, or what would be the one thing that you look at when you say, I have all this work I've done in the scouring? Is there one feature, one idea, one unit that you are the most proud of, most excited about?
Well, if you want me to name one unit,
Or what
if you play the
one
game.
feature, maybe something that you're like, we've been able to pull this off, and I'm so proud that we were able to do so.
Oh, there is a feature, but we haven't released it yet,
Oh.
and it's related to the heroes mode.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, and it will work in a kind of similar way to what MOBA games like Dota work, but at the same time differently. Uh, you will see it yourself soon enough, but not to if we were talking about the content that we see right now in the demo, which I'm most proud of, is probably the way people can climb. The units can climb on top of the roofs of the building and fight there. And I mean, it's been done in other games like Stronghold, but in our game, we made it so it's the control of the fights that happen on the roofs of the buildings at the same times as the fights on the ground. It's very fluid. Player knows exactly what's happening, and he knows how to control the fights, and it's very dynamic at the same time. So it's like a mixture of dynamics of StarCraft with the tactical aspect of Stronghold. I guess that's one of the features that I love. That the implementation that we've managed to do.
And how long did it take you all to make that from I want to add this feature to wow, we got it, it's working, let's deploy it? What was that process like?
Oh, the way units climb on top of the roofs, it was planned from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It's fundamental feature, and it's believe me, it's not something you just put into say StarCraft 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it changes all the layers of user interaction with the game. So you really need to plan it from the beginning, and that's what we did.
Gotcha. And it seems to work pretty well, although the amount of times I go up a tower and I think I can take it, and the defenders make that very impossible is a little bit too often. I'm just gonna say it, but that's a skill issue more than anything else.
Oh, I don't think it's a skill issue. Sorry to interrupt, but it's just we're just releasing a demo. We're analyzing the feedback, and we will be making the necessary tweaks, of course.
Fair enough. I'm just saying that like I misread it, and that's on me. But as we kind of move forward into this interview and really start to wind down the interview a little bit, we've talked about your background going into making this game, the process of making it, where you draw inspiration from. But is there anything that we haven't talked about that you came and you said, look, I'm going to do this interview, I am really excited to talk about something, and we haven't talked about it yet?
I guess not. Just we have a lot of things that we think about. I mean, internally in our
Mm-hmm.
team that haven't made it into the game. A lot of things, and it just boils down to the time necessary to implement it. We are thinking about adding some naval units, some
Mm-hmm.
plane units like dragons, and additional like magical creatures. You can do a lot of stuff, really. And I mean, the after you implement the basic mechanics of the RTS, which we did, uh, your opportunities are really, really big. Really boils down just to time that takes it to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a small indie team, I mean, if you're a big team, it works a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just we have lots of things that we're hoping that will come to life with this project. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Now that you
Right now, yeah, we just need to get started.
Yeah. Now that you got the baseline down, you can add a lot more stuff. But I do want to go back
Yeah,
because
exactly.
this project has been described to me before as one guy building an RTS because he wanted to build an RTS. It sounds like it sounds like your team has expanded a little bit since that point. You said you're at about 5 members of the team now. Is that what
Well,
I heard you
I'm
say?
the only, yeah, but I'm the only coder.
Okay.
I'm the
Okay.
only programmer in the team, and so it's just so just I'm doing both the game programming, the network programming, the graphics
Mm-hmm.
programming, the tools programming, the game editor, all that stuff. Fortunately, we have a amazing producer who is helping us, who actually set us up with
Okay.
this interview. Yeah, we have a good artist who makes the creatures. We have a sound designer, a technical artist. Still, we're a very small team.
Gotcha. Well, Pavel, this has been awesome. I've got my hands on the game a little bit. I can't wait to go play it more, especially as these updates you're talking about start to roll out a little bit more. Any final thoughts before we close up?
No, just I'm happy that you have me. I was really happy to have this conversation with you, and just ping me when you feel like it. Okay.
Sounds like a plan. We'll have to have you back on. This has been great. And for those of you that are watching and you haven't tried the scoring, it really is cool. It's a great hallmark. It's a homage to the old Warcraft games. It's got some Age of Empires stuff in there. It really is a lot of fun. So make sure you go play it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.